A good indicator of economic welfare can clearly tell governments and policymakers which sectors in the economy they need to focus on. Since World War II, much of the world has adopted the gross domestic product, GDP, as a prime indicator of prosperity, focusing on industrial output and productivity. However, the country of Bhutan came up with the Gross National Happiness Index. While the GNH excels at communicating holistic macroeconomic objectives such as more emphasis on education or good governance, it fails to address several key economic issues. One such problem is that the measurements of happiness are often arbitrary, meaning that each individual will have different ideas on what good governance or efficient time use is, both critical factors in measuring the GNH. This can often skew government decision making, leading to malinvestments and wrongful allocation of resources. For example, the GNH reveals a satisfactory level of education when in reality, the nation's education standards are quite low and thus require more funding to schools and education. Furthermore, GNH also makes it hard to determine exactly how much resources to devote to certain sectors. From 1980 to 2017, Bhutan's GDP rose by a factor of 6 and clearly indicate which areas to invest in order to ensure continued growth. A growth in GNH was also observed, but it is unclear how different factors in the almost 40 years affected this index. If the system was to be utilized in Australia, the government would not know how much of the federal budget needs to go into healthcare or how much needs to go into transport. Another issue with the GNH is its impracticality on a much larger scale. Each person in the country must be individually asked how many of the 33 indicators of GNH they have achieved sufficiency in. The amount of labor, time, and money required to conduct a consensus of this size will not be worth the information that can be acquired. While each index for measuring a nation's welfare has its flaws, a country must approach measuring economic welfare from a holistic level, regarding various factors such as happiness, productivity, income, and many more. Only then can policymakers make the best decisions that ensure the prosperity of a nation.